This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we're now in the process costing where there are two cost sites. We only have one product, such as gasoline, where the crude is explored and secured in the Gulf, and there's a set of costs in the Gulf. And then we bring that product into Texas, Louisiana for refining, a separate set of costs. So it goes from crude to gasoline. So there are two sets of costs. So we've looked at one product, we've looked at two or more products, and now we're looking at one product, but more than one process. And we said that the journal entry is required. We got two new accounts, work in process 1 and work in process 2. If we got multiple products, we got multiple work in process accounts. But now we just have one product, but it has several processes. So there are two work in process accounts. Work in process 1, and we said a key thing was coming up with that journal entry to transfer from work in process 1 to work in process 2. And then the next key journal entry was transferring from finished goods to work in process. And we said we did it differently, and we utilized a table such as this. And different from before, where we just did a portion of direct materials and all of the conversion costs, labor, and overhead, now it's a portion of both. We're going to transfer out a portion of the raw materials, and we're going to transfer out a portion of the conversion costs. A portion of the raw materials remain, and a portion of the conversion costs remain also. And so you all had, and we did an in-class problem on this. And as we work through the in-class problem, okay, at the end of the day, $1,200,000 is the cost of goods manufactured. Okay, $1,200,000 is the cost of goods manufactured. So when we get to our cost of goods manufactured, we got to have $1.2 million here. Okay. So that's the bottom line. We must have $1,200,000 here. We add up the costs in work in process 1, $750,000. We add up the costs in work in process 2, $1.2 million. But this $750,000 went over to work in process 2, so we can't count it in work in process 1 and then count it again in work in process 2. The total costs incurred are $750,000 and $1.2, or $750,000 and $375,000, well, $775,000 or whatever. Okay, in terms of the total cost. And so we got to be at $1.2 million. Okay, so this 1,375 is including this 750. Okay, so if we were, so let's look at it this way. We got 750 that we incurred in process 1. How much did we incur in process 2? We need to leave out the 750. So I'm just going to put a little strike on it for now. So what were the costs in process, work in process 2? 150 plus 275 plus 200 minus 175. How much is that? Can someone add up 150, 275, 200, and subtract out 175? How much do we get?
You get 450,000.
Okay. So those were the new costs, correct? And what's 450 and 750?
$1,200,000.
Okay. So we have this overlap column because the cost from work in process 2, even though we transfer from work in process 1, we transfer in work in process 2, but you can't count them 2 times, both here and then again here, to come up with your total manufacturing cost. Your manufacturing cost is 750 in work in process 1, 450 in work in process 2, and we just add them together to continue. Okay? Does that help a little bit? Well, just think about it. But the 750 comes over here to work in process 2. Okay. But we've already counted in work in process 1, so we can't count it again. So let's look at it and think about it. The key thing that you need to know is how to make those transfer journal entries. So when it says transfer to work in process 2, you need to know how to be able to do that. And then transfer to finished good. That's what you need to be able to do. So I gave you all a problem yesterday that each team was supposed to work on. What problem was that?
12-1.
So let's see if we can get to 12-1. Do y'all have those submitted? Have it submitted?
Yes.
Okay, so here's 12-1, work in process 1, work in process 2, operating transactions. And you're supposed to make these journal entries and do all of this. So we then come up with a cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold. So that's where we all are going, and that's what you all are doing. So let me do one thing. So what we got to do is to start all the way back over, of course. I guess y'all about ready to take it away through now. So okay, here we have process costing study problem 12-1. And in this problem, how many were scheduled for production?
12,000.
12,000 was how many they're supposed to produce. They issued common stock. We'll ignore that journal entry. They purchased raw materials, transferred to work in process. So they made these entries. Then here's that key transfer entry here. And they say what's remaining. And we go over it again. I don't know why these are still here in the way. Okay, so everybody should have the problem, correct? Does everybody have the problem?
Yes.
Anybody that don't have the problem?
Yeah.
Just trying to get these directly underneath. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we can start making some journal entries. So who's up first? Who need points the most? Okay.
I'll go.
All right, so Miss Hubert is going.
Who? Okay.
Brady's going. Who's going?
Yeah, I was gonna do work in process too. I think Brady just said she's gonna go.
Okay. All right, Brady. So we said that we would just skip 7 and go directly to 8. So what's going to happen with journal entry 8, Brady?
Materials purchase.
What you going to do?
Bring it down. And it's gonna be raw materials and AP. Just bring $100,000 down.
How
And we're
much
gonna debit.
did you buy?
Huh?
How much raw material did you buy?
100,000.
I'm
I'm
good
on the
with
working process too. I'm sorry. I bought 25,000. And so I'm going to debit raw material,
what you going to credit.
25,000.
That's our first transaction. What's our next transaction?
Raw material transferred to work in process. So work in process 1 will be 22,000. That's going to be debited. And then raw materials will be credited for 22,000.
So let's go down and
Put in
do
a
we have
two.
she accounts down here anywhere? So these are our T accounts. Let me move them up some. Copy.
So I put 22,000 in raw material under WIP1 on the debit side.
Let's put the raw material debit in first. How much did we buy?
25,000? Was it 25,000?
Take your word for it. Then how much did we transfer in? Get your entry.
Yes, it was
20.
22?
Okay, so and I'll just put, RM on it so we know it's raw materials. What's our next transaction?
So direct labor, 2,000 hours at $10 an hour.
So you paid the
So
workers $10 an hour for 2,000 hours. So what's that journal entry going to be?
it's gonna be work in process 1, 10,000. We debit 10,000, and then manufacturing overhead 10,000. Oh wait, no. No. Work in process 1 is gonna be 20,000 and cash 20,000. Sorry.
And what's our, so we'll now put the labor in.
You putting it on the T chart?
Yeah. It's always a good idea. Direct labor.
And we under work in process debited
And what's our
$20,000.
third transaction?
Uh,
Manufacturing overhead.
apply manufacturing overhead $5 per direct labor.
What does that $5 represent?
Huh?
It's the POR.
Or
POR. So multiply 5 times these labor hours. So how much do we get?
$10,000.
Take your word for it. No problem. Okay. So let's put our manufacturing overhead in. Okay, so we got our MOH in at 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So we need to put that credit in here, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what's our next transaction?
Transfer to finished goods. Is that mine? That's not mine. Transfer the work in process to 9,000 units.
So how many units did we start?
9.
No, how many did we start?
Oh, how many did we start?
12,000.
And how many did we finish?
9,000.
9,000.
And how much of this cost in this account are we gonna transfer out? So we know that we gotta make an entry, debiting work in process 2 and crediting work in process 1. And we look at the T account, it's 22, 20, and 10,000. How much is that all total?
52.
Take your word for it. So how much of this are we gonna transfer out?
Professor Boyd?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I was trying to talk off my computer, but it wasn't letting me. So I thought I was talking the whole time, but you didn't hear me.
Oh, you thought you were talking the whole time?
Yeah, I was talking, but you couldn't hear me, so I had to join off my iPad.
Okay. So how much did this cost? Brady was moving on right well, but how much of this 52,000 are we gonna transfer from work in process 1 to work in process 2? That is the $100,000 question, which you have to do on your next exam.
You have to go to the chart.
So kind of go to one of these charts here, huh? What's the
The
purpose of
work in
this chart?
process 1.
What's the purpose of this chart?
So you can find out. So you can find a work in process 2 for the journal entry.
How much you gonna transfer?
Yes.
So let's look at what we're gonna do. Quantity schedule for production was what?
12,000.
So we're gonna put that on the first line. Any questions? How many units did we complete?
9,000.
9,000.
Okay, says we completed 9,000. So that goes on the second line. So how many then are partially complete?
3,000.
How you get 3,000?
Subtract. You subtract the
Subtract
units.
12,000 minus 9.
What was the percentage of completion on the direct materials?
2/3.
I think 2/3.
What's the percent completed on the conversion costs?
1/3.
What are conversion costs?
How much it costs to produce the good, to convert the good from directed materials to a product.
Okay. So the conversion costs are the costs incurred to move the raw material to the finished product and its labor and overhead. So we got the direct materials here and the labor and overhead here. Okay. So our next line is what? So if these are 2/3 complete, what's our partial equivalent units?
2,000.
Can't hear you.
2,000.
How'd you get 2,000?
3,000 and 2/3. I did 3,000 of 2/3.
2/3 of 3,000?
Yeah, that.
So a key step here is to, with these partial units, to see the percentage complete they are, and then we equate them to equivalent units by multiplying the percentage fraction here times the ones that are partial. So we had 3,000 that were partially, 1/3 complete. So what's going to go here?
1,000.
Then we need total equivalent units. So here we're trying to come up with, in terms of total units, how many units when we convert the partially ones to completed units? What's the total equivalent full units? How did you get
11,000.
that number?
I added line 1 and line 4.
How much did you get?
Hmm?
How much did you get when you added them?
11,000.
How much you get here?
10,000.
Then we go to the work in process account to see how much direct materials in there and how much direct labor is in there. So if we go to that account, how much raw materials in that account?
22,000.
I see the 22,000. So we're going to come back to this chart, put 22,000 here. And let's just pick up the other costs. What's the labor and overhead?
Huh? So don't
How
I
much?
add the direct labor, which is 20,000, and the manufacturing cost, which is 10,000. I add that together and got get 30,000 for the conversion cost. Or
That's
no?
correct.
Okay.
Okay. So now we need the cost per equivalent unit. How do we get that?
Divide line 6 and line 5.
So how much you gonna have on line 7?
$2. And on conversion cost, it'll be $3.
So for the raw material, just divide these, to get an equivalent unit cost and ship $, $3. So our cost per equivalent unit is $2 for raw materials, $3 for conversion cost. How many units were transferred? We said it's complete.
9,000. 9,000.
We're bringing 9,000 back down, so it's closed to us. What's the cost transferred for raw materials?
18,000. I do multiply 9,000 times the $2
How much for
and
the
get
conversion cost?
27,000.
So what's the total cost going to be transferred?
45,000.
So what's our journal entry going to be?
45,000. I think it's WIP 40 WIP 2 45,000 and WIP 1 45,000. WIP 2 is debited and WIP 1 is credited.
And so let's go and post those in the T account. So we're
And
going to
then
debit.
subtract that and get 7,000.
So how much left in the account?
7,000.
7,000.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any questions from anybody on what we just did?
I have a question.
Okay.
Going back to the chart that we just completed. So the percentage the percentage partially completed. We assume that whatever they didn't complete, they completed partially, or they didn't do it at all.
They were partially. They had 2/3 of the raw materials and 1/3 of the labor costs.
You talking about number 2, Johanna? Or you talking about
Yeah,
4?
I get confused by the word partially. Like partially means like that's the part of the total 12,000 you did not do. It doesn't mean that you partially completed some of those 3,000.
Well, I guess
If you look at gasoline,
9,000.
you got to get the crude and do some things with it and add some additives and stuff to get it to be gasoline. For the 9,000 units, they completed that process. For the 3,000, they did not get all the additives in that they needed. They didn't have enough, so they couldn't complete these.
Okay, I see.
On the labor side, they were able to go ahead and do a full amount of labor and get these ready. But the 3,000, the workers only worked 1/3 because there wasn't enough raw materials left to finish those up and added raw materials.
Okay. I was just thinking too hard, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's got to think about gasoline and you're trying to convert crude and you're trying to convert it to gasoline.
It's more of the wording, I guess.
Yeah. Okay,
Well,
thank you.
They're either fully completed, and you can pass them on, or they're incomplete. So partial, maybe incomplete, is that a better word?
Yes, incomplete is a better word.
Okay, we'll switch that to incomplete in the next version.
I
Just put it in
appreciate that.
parentheses.
So if it was 4,000, would it be out of 4?
What did you say, missing in action, Powell?
Over. I missed one day. So 4,000, it would be out of 4 instead of out of 3 because if it was partially completed. So if they partially completed 4,000, would it be the percentage out of 4?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll let you work the next one.
No, she already knows. Somebody already said they was working that one.
All right. Any questions? Okay. So we get ready now to go into process 2. So same product, you see, different from before. Same product, but we got to finish it off now with some more raw materials and labor. So next person in line, want some extra points?
Yes. For number 8, the raw materials purchase was 100,000. So I debited 100,000 for raw materials and credited the 100,000.
Now we adding the raw materials for process 2. Then what do we do next?
It says the raw material transferred to work in process was 90,000. So I debited for work in process to 90,000 and then credited 90,000 into raw materials. The next one, it said
Well, let's just do some postings right quick. We had a debit here of 100,000, correct?
Yes.
Got a credit of 90,000. So how much is left in raw materials now? Then I'm gonna take this. Y'all come on that balance. The key thing is that the 45 transferred from work in process 1 becomes a raw material in work in process 2.
Mm.
Okay, that's a key thing. How much money we got left in this account now?
125,000.
No, I don't think we got that much left. You spent too much.
Oh yeah, 13,000. My bad. Once you subtract the 125 from 112.
Okay. So, all right. So we got the raw material in. What's our labor gonna be?
3 hours at $20 an hour, 60,000.
So they work 3,000 hours at $20 an hour, so that's $60,000. We're gonna go to work in process 2, 60,000 for labor.
And credit cash, 60,000.
And so let's go ahead and post that in that T account.
We debit that in work in process too.
And what's our next transaction?
We applied the manufacturing overhead at $5 per direct labor hour. So I got 15,000 and I debited that work in process too, and then credited 15,000 for the overhead.
Okay, so let's put that 15,000 in. So the question now becomes, let's go to the next journal entry.
We transferred 6,000 units.
How many were we working on initially? And working
12,000.
with 2. How many did we transfer in?
9,000.
Okay, we finished 6,000. So we started with 9. And we completed 6,000. So how many were incomplete?
3,000.
And what's the percentage incomplete?
100%.
So these are all the way complete then, 100%.
And
What
then
about
for
over here
conversion,
on the conversion cost?
50%.
So we have to multiply these two numbers, these percentages, times the incomplete ones to get them on an equivalent basis. So what's the equivalent amount for the
3,000.
raw material side?
3,000.
3, because they're 100%. But what about for the conversion cost?
1,500 because it's 50%.
So our total equivalent units are what?
9,000, and for the conversion, 7,500.
Go back over that. Okay, 9,000. Okay. How'd you get 9,000?
Because I did the units completed, which was 6,000, plus the partially completed,
Got 9. And how much do we have here?
7,500.
6 plus 1,500. So we got 7,500. How much cost do we have in the work in process account for raw materials?
You have to do 45,000 plus 90,000 in work in process too, and you'll have 135,000.
We got to add both of these together, 90 and the 45. She said we'll have 135,000. And how much conversion cost do we have?
75,000.
But what's our cost per equivalent unit?
It'll be $15, and you have to divide the 135,000 by 9,000.
What about for the conversion cost?
$10, and that's the same dividing the 75,000 by 7,500.
How many units were transferred?
6,000.
So the cost transferred is going to be what?
90,000 by doing 15 times 6,000.
How much here?
60,000.
So the total cost transferred?
Is 150,000.
And so we will make this amount 150,000, right? So we're going to debit finished goods. How much?
150,000, and credit work in process to 150,000.
So let's see, we can pick up on our T accounts now.
Got to credit the
Transferring out
150,000.
50,000, right? So how much is left in work in process 2?
60,000.
How much?
60,000.
Shatana, you ready to pick up? You there? Okay, next person.
I'll go.
Okay, what's our next transaction?
The next transaction we're going to do is our sales. So
Did we sell?
they told us that we sold 5,000 units at 4 times the cost, but we first have to figure out what our unit cost was. So to figure out our unit cost, we got to go down to the T charts, the finished good T chart. And to start the finished good T charts, you
There was 6,000 over there, correct?
yeah, 6,000, and then we're going to divide the 150,000 by the 6,000 to get our unit cost, which is $25. And then we're going to multiply that by 4 to get our selling price, because it told us earlier that our selling price is 4 times the unit cost.
How many did we sell? 5,000?
We sold 5,000. So 5,000 times 100 is 500,000.
So we have cash of 500,000.
Yes, and sales.
What's our cost of goods sold gonna be?
Our cost of goods sold is going to be we have to figure out the new. So to get that, we have to multiply the $25 unit cost by 5,000.
How much is that gonna be?
125. And that will make our next journal entry, the cost of goods sold and finished goods.
Okay. How much is left in this account now?
In the finished goods account, 25,000.
And finished, okay. And our journal entry,
We debit cost of goods sold for 125,000, and we credit finished goods for 125,000.
and they tell us selling expenses are what?
50,000.
I would get 50,000.
Okay. Selling expenses are going to be 10% of sales. Our sales were 500,000. 10% of that is 50,000.
Okay, so we're gonna debit selling expenses 50,000,
Mm-hmm.
credit cash 50,000.
Yes, and then for the admin expenses, it tells us above that it's $75,000. So we're going to debit admin expenses for 75 and credit cash for 75.
Okay, what's our next entry?
So now we got to figure out. Well, now if we go up to the chart, it tells us that what our actual manufacturing overhead was. It was 24,000. So we're going to go to the T chart and compare that to our applied manufacturing overhead.
We're gonna record the manufacturing overhead first, right?
Do what?
We're gonna record it first. Then we'll put
Yes,
it in
report it and then put it in the T chart. So you're going to debit 24,000 manufacturing overhead and credit cash.
So now we need to post that in the T chart, 24,000. We didn't post how much was,
It was 15,000.
so this is the MOH,
Yeah, the MOH for work in process 2.
and that was 15,000.
And then we can close that off since we don't have anything left. So to complete that in our next journal entry, we're going to put 1,000.
So we're gonna debit what MOH?
We're going to debit MOH for 1,000 to zero out our manufacturing overhead account. So that will mean that we over applied of $1,000.
So we go ahead and we post that. So when we posted, this account zeroes out.
Yeah.
And that's all the transactions.
Yeah. And to close out the cost of goods sold account, you have 124 left over.
Okay. So we now need to do what? Cost of goods sold and a cost of goods manufactured account?
I can help with this one.
Okay. So we're going to put these right beneath the T accounts because we can go to these T accounts and prepare these statements. Okay, so Shekinah, go ahead.
Okay, for the wait, where you at? You want a T-charts?
That's a good place to be, right?
Why you want a T-charts?
Oh, I was just visiting the T chart.
Oh, okay.
All right, go
Okay,
ahead.
so about working process one, we don't have a beginning inventory, but we do have added purchase, which would be 25,000 for working process one
Where did that come from?
from the raw material purchase.
So we could have gone right here to this account, right?
Yes, but they say 22,000.
25. That's the working. But we purchased 25,000.
Yeah, you could have went to the problem.
All right.
Okay,
Where we gonna get in the inventory from?
well, I get my less ending inventory from my raw material use, so you just subtract the raw material use from the added purchase, which will give you the less ending inventory. So that would be 22,000.
So purchases less in the inventory gives us 22. Okay, what's our direct labor?
20,000
Where you got that from?
from the direct labor under the T chart of working process one.
Flat manufacturing overhead.
10,000. And I got that also from the T account.
So what's total manufacturing cost?
52,000, which was the total on debit side for the working process one.
What's the ending working process?
7,000.
So what's cost of goods manufactured?
45,000.
Any questions on those numbers? So you can go to journal entries, or you can go to the T accounts for raw materials and work in process one. Let's go on to work in process two now. How much raw material did you purchase there?
100,000. The less ending inventory would be 10,000. And the raw material use would be 90,000. And beneath that would be 45,000 in the same box.
So it's at 45,000 for.
Huh?
What's 45,000 for?
It's the second raw material use under the T account of working process two.
What else does it represent?
Um, the raw material transferred over.
That's the raw materials transferred in. What's our labor?
60,000.
Light manufacturing overhead?
15,000.
So what's our total manufacturing cost?
210,000.
Ending inventory?
60,000.
So what's the cost of goods manufactured?
150,000.
Okay, so we have 45 here and 150 here. At the end of the day, what number do we need here? So if I just said, what's the total gonna be for both processes? What number is gonna go here?
150,000.
On 150,000 gonna go there. Well, how's 150,000 gonna go there? We have 45 and 150. How do you add up to that?
You got to get the total. You got to add the WIP1 plus the WIP2
I did. 45 plus 150.
minus your overlaps, which would be 45,000.
Oh, I missed the overlap. You can't count it twice. You can't count it down here, then stick it in here and count it again. You see that, Brady?
What you say? Oh, see, that's what.
You can't count this row.
I was supposed to put minus 45,000 in overlap costs.
Yep. You can't count this row, then put the 45 over here and count the 45 again. You got to be at 150. So the purchases in total are going to be what?
125,000.
And the ending?
13,000.
So the raw material used is how much?
112,000.
But if I add 22.90 and 45, I don't get 112.
What I did was I added 22,000 plus 90,000, put the overlaps of negative 45,000 to get 112,000.
We put that overlap in again.
Yes.
The labor,
80,000.
plant manufacturing overhead,
25,000.
total manufacturing costs,
217,000. And you also going to add minus 45,000 for the overlaps to get 217,000.
that's the ending.
67,000.
What's 217 minus 67?
150,000.
Okay. Any questions? So we go to cost of goods sold now. Sales are how much?
500,000.
We didn't have any beginning finished goods. What's our cost of goods manufactured?
150,000.
Less the ending inventory?
25,000.
So the unadjusted cost is what?
125,000.
Add under or deduct over applied?
1,000.
Adding or subtracting?
Subtract.
So the adjusted cost of goods sold is what?
124,000.
So what's our gross margin?
376,000.
I'm taking your word for it. This power is silent. Okay, so I guess the other part of it got cut off. So
Professor, I need to leave class early. Is that okay?
no, it's not okay. I'm tired of you leaving my class early.
We're finished.
Leaving my class early?
We're finished.
We are. Y'all got a quiz coming up.
Oh,
He's
Nuh-uh.
5:41. He at 5:50.
Nuh-uh.
We got another test coming.
I thought it was next week though.
But we can always have an attendance quiz, see how y'all coming. Do I need to test y'all on this?
No.
no, I mean, you can see that today we know what we're talking about. We did pretty good.
Oh,
We did really good.
okay. So then we're gonna subtract what? What are they? Selling expenses? Y'all did good.
Yeah, the expense is equal to 125,000. So that one is 50.
The admin.
That one's 50, and the other one, admin, is 75.
Oh, this is 50. Admin. So what's our net income?
249,000. No, it's not.
251.
Any questions? Okay. What time this class in?
5:50.
5:50.
It's plenty of time, right?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, it's not.
It's 5:45.
I thought y'all wanted some extra more.
You just said we
They
on
need
top.
some
Like
extra
we do the
too.
stuff, we get extra
We
points.
can check it tomorrow.
You need to have a little paper. I don't see you writing these names down.
Yeah.
I got a good memory. I know who I'll talk today. It was
Just don't forget Hubert.
no, we won't forget the Christian. We got to protect these Christians.
It's Krishan, Professor Boyd.
What? Okay, so I'll probably begin working on the next period, and I'll put those in. Then what I'll do, I'll get those out. Once I get these first things in, so you get a tentative look at it. Make sure we have the points in. So I'll try to have that ready next week. Now let's look at where we're going. You can see we had a traditional income statement. Sales less cost of goods sold, gross profit less selling administrative expenses, income. That's going to change going forward. is sales less variable costs, contribution margin less fixed expenses, net income. So we move from this functional classification to one based on variable costs and fixed costs. So that's going to be the big change in terms of our approach. And then the next thing that once we hit those quickly, we move into cost volume profit relationships. Cost volume profit relationships. And in cost volume profit relationships, we're concerned with how many units you need to sell a break even, how many units will cause a loss to be a minus 100,000, how many units will cause a profit of $1 million. And that's what you have to work at on your projects. And so the information and formulas in this chapter, and you see 5, 6, and 7, memorize those formulas. Once again, 5, 6, and 7, memorize those formulas. And for the third time, 5, 6, and 7, you got to memorize those formulas. Got it?
I think so.
So we'll go and we'll work them, but you got to memorize those formulas so you'll be able to move at a good pace. And then we're going to look at a problem where these computers are selling for $1,500. Their variable costs are $500. Total fixed cost is $24,000. Then you got to be able to determine how many units will cause the company to lose $100,000, how many cause it to break even, how many causes it to make $1 million as we move into a planning mode. And you will have to make the same calculations for your product. And so we sort of need to be able to put end time in after 550 on some of this. And then I'll meet with each team eventually, because part 2 of the project should be due around next Thursday or Friday. And the teams will be presenting that to me on Thursday and Friday after class. So you'll have a 15-minute window for you to begin to present. So that means you got to bought all your raw materials and everything else and be ready to get this in. So we'll come up with some time like that so you can get your assumptions set. Any questions? Any comments? Teams, try to salvage your people if you can. And people try to salvage yourself if you can, but you got to be on a team working on a project. You got to participate now. Now it's time for your vacation, other types of things, so you can pass this class.
So our test is on Tuesday?
Say what?
Our test is on Tuesday or Thursday?
Probably have a attendance quiz on Tuesday. So you probably have an attendance quiz every day going out, since y'all kind of
Every day?
Yeah, every day. Every day. So there'll be a attendance quiz every day.
Every day.
So 2 things you have to watch out for. Calculation of activity rate and being able to make that journal entry transfer. So those 2 things you have to be able to work on. So we will probably do a multi-product activity rate quiz on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, we will do a process costing journal entry transfer. So we do that on Thursday. You have about the first 10 or 15 minutes of the class to get that done. And that's it, first 10 or 15 minutes, and then we move it on. Any further questions?
Professor, which one is on Tuesday again?
I'll probably have both of them for you. I'll give you 2 on Tuesday.
It's fine as long as I get the point.
Hello.
Okay, on Tuesday, we'll do the one on activity rate, where you have to calculate the activity rate and the cost of 4 books and selling price on 4 books. That's Tuesday, 15 minutes. That goes back to multi-product. Then on next Thursday, you have to go through that chart and give me the journal entry and dollar amounts in the journal entry for a transfer from one working process to the next. You only will be doing one journal entry for one working process.
Okay.
There is possibly in YouTube's exam 3 preparation video. So that's probably in YouTube already from last spring. So you might go and begin to look at it. Okay? Because that's where I did the preparation. I did a preparation video. We were moving into online, and I did a preparation video to get them ready for these quizzes. They actually had an exam class period, but we lost that class period because of the storm, which we shouldn't have lost, but we did. And so I will just be giving you all quizzes. And if I give these quizzes and everything, then I don't have to worry about having 70, 80 points on one item. So, you may be talking about it every day, but that gives you a daily way to get points. If I don't do it that way, then it's on the final. Got it?
Got it.
I think that needs to be a point category because I'm supposed to be out. My point's supposed to be out of this world.
They're supposed to be out of this world.
All right,
So
I guess I'll see
I don't want it to be like a midterm where I give y'all a break and I don't give you a separate study problem. I give you the study problem and midterm together, and you all went on break and didn't do the problem. So every day you will have a quiz from here on out. Like I say, with the quizzes, that just reduces the amount of points on the final. And that might be a good idea. I don't know.
That sounds like a good.
You said the what might be a what?
It might be a good idea to have multiple quizzes so you can mess up sometime rather than take a file and mess up on it. On a whole bunch.
That sounds cool. That sounds cool.
Did you all see those grades?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta see.
For the quizzes, like how many points would the quizzes be worth?
They're between 5 and 10.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah, they all major. They will be major. A lot of them may be 10. It's easy to add up 10s, Angela.
Yeah, it'll help. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. See, that's a mature student. See, realizing, yeah, that's a good idea. Not like O'Powell. Hubert complaining.
All right, well, I'll see y'all next week then.
All right. Sister Connor, you should not have been shying away, you see? Anyway, we'll talk about
No,
it.
I was trying to talk, but my computer was not letting me talk.
I told you what to do, but see you.
No, I listened. I was reading everything, but my computer, I was talking. I was saying, Professor Board, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna speak, but I'm like, can you hear me or not? So that's why. And somebody else spoke up, so I lost my chance.
Just keep that in mind. That people
Hmm.
speak up.
Yeah, it's my computer. I got to get a new one.
Then you should have your computer and your screen on. See, I told you, but you said, no, I'm not going to buy a new computer, have my screen. I'm going to be quiet and shy. You see?
Yes, you're still recording.
I hope you learned the lesson.
You're still recording.
Oh, am I? But why didn't you tell me?
Okay. I just realized it. Sorry.